Hi everyone, our special guest of today's Harry Potter TCG Talks is my best and my oldest friend in this game. We are playing for almost a year at each week. We play tons of games, so each episode we will want to focus in one team. We would like to talk about deck building and strategies because we played so long. But first of all, thank you, Mona, for having this chat with us, and thank you for being here.
Yes, of course. I'm really excited. It's kind of like what we usually do, where we just play and talk. So it's going to be fun.
Tell me about when do you discover the game? I know you were a huge fan of the Harry Potter for a long time, from the books and the movies and the history of J.K. Rowling, and mainly on the card game when you discovered.
Yeah, I would have to say I was pretty young, maybe like around 13 or so. I found one of the booster packs at one of our local big stores here, actually, big stores in the States, Target. And then I had some cards that were gifted to me, and I had a really small collection. It was nothing too significant. I put them in a binder, but it was really like a very thin binder. I think I only had like 20 cards. I stopped collecting them. I didn't really take it serious because they weren't very popular even at that time. I think it was slowly dying down. And then I found like when I was around 17 or so, I started to pick it back up and I bought a few from eBay. And then I found some cards on like these, it was called pokeorder.com. It's not really a popular website anymore, but yeah, they had these like grab bags where you could order like 10 random cards or 100 random cards or something like that. I did that and it kind of helped me like fill in the blanks for a lot of the different sets. I just fell in love with the game because, of course it's Harry Potter and I'm a Harry Potter fanatic for most things, but I really enjoyed the fact that it wasn't based around the films. I do like the films, but a lot of people I think will hear me talk about that because it's like the thing that made me fall in love with Harry Potter was like my imagination when I read the book and when I heard it like being read to me. As a young person or anybody who has an imagination that thrives, you kind of picture the characters and the way that Hogwarts looks and the creatures and all that stuff. And so the card game really kind of fills in the blanks for me. So yeah, which I think a lot of us, I know you love the art too, and so we're kind of on the same page with that. The majority of us, the art is just amazing. So I think I joined the Facebook group. I want to say maybe like 2 years ago. It could have been longer. I kind of forgot. But when I joined the Facebook group, I asked everybody in the group like, "Hey, is anyone in Arizona?" And nobody was. Which of course, I didn't expect it to be. And so because I had so many cards, I offered a few coworkers and some friends to come over, look through all my cards. We can build a deck together, and then we can play. Because I understood the rules loosely, but nothing really extravagant. Because you can only every deck is good in theory, right? It's like when you put it to practice and you realize like, wow, this is the crappiest deck ever, And so, they came over and that was about maybe, I don't know, like a year and a half ago or so. I played with them a couple of times, but they weren't very interested in it. I mean, like they did it just to humor me, just to kind of come and be like, all right, let's just do this thing that Mona wants us to do. And then more players started to come into the Facebook group, and then they were more open to like webcam playing because just for me personally, the online platforms aren't very user friendly. But even if they were, the fact that I can like hold my cards and play is really what I like, and I know that that's what you like too, because it's like I'm collecting all of these cards, and then just to play it online with virtual cards is like, I don't know, it just kind of doesn't seem real to me. So yeah, like webcam is the absolute best thing for me. And then of course, you and I started chatting, and then next thing you know, we're playing every week. So yeah.
Yeah, I like those too because when the pandemic came, I was playing Keyforge a lot. That's
Mhm.
another card game from Richard Garfield, who's the creator of the Magic. When the pandemic came, I started to play on a website because they don't have an official platform, but they have a real cool website that's made basically by fans. I start to play a lot when the pandemic came, and then I get a little pissed off. And sometimes, as you say, is not friendly and even more for
Mhm.
starters because you have the chat section. So sometimes people are a little bit, aggressive for nothing. Or
Yeah.
as you say, I like the thing of play with the physical cards because you touch it, you play like almost you are playing physically. That I most like.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good point to make. Like on these other platforms, you have like this sort of like you don't know the person that you're playing with. And that wouldn't really matter until they start to, like you say, get a little bit aggressive or something, because you have these people in the world that just take everything so Like seriously, even something as silly as like a game, it's like we're supposed to be doing this for fun, and then you have all these people that make it into something that it shouldn't be, and then it takes the fun out of it. Like that would also, that's kind of one of the things is like when you and I can have a conversation and we can play, when I lose, it's like I don't really care to lose anyway because I just know that I can fix my deck and I have fun no matter what. But it just kind of takes the competitiveness a little bit like out of the game, and it kind of decreases that, and it's just better. But I do understand that some people can't do that, or they don't have enough cards to build, or so I do get that the online platform helps because some people don't have however many cards for their deck or whatever. So I guess both options can be good.
Sometimes you look to some card that you think it's very good and isn't that good playing. The other side is true because sometimes you think, oh, this card is really powerful, is not that powerful, or this card is weak. It's fun because a lot of times that I look at some card and then when I test it with you, I can feel if it works or not, right?
Mhm.
Even sometimes you used some cards against me. I was seriously gonna use this, put this card in the deck, and then when I notice you lock me down or you give it enough damage to finish the game, that's the experience that we have of playing a lot. It's very good to build decks and keep changing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things that's like really fun is like I finally had the opportunity to build a new deck and I just built it today. So, if we played with it, I have no idea if it's good, no idea if it's bad, but either way, they're new cards that I haven't played with, meaning like the combination of those specific cards, the theory behind the cards, the strategy are going to be beneficial whether I win or lose. And so those are kind of some of the things because otherwise, like sometimes I just flip through my cards and then I'm like, oh, I don't ever pay attention to this card. So let me try to put this in a deck. And so sometimes you can't do that in these online platform databases because you already have to know the card that you're going to put in a deck, right? So it's not like, I mean, I guess you can go on ASIO.cards and look through it too, but
Well, I remember the first contact I have with some deck buildings. I see the deck building photos of Sammy on the Revival group, and I,
right.
I keep following it to build my decks and change a little bit of some things. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember when I see the mice to snuff boxes on the owl deck, that it's my favorite one. I not put it the first time, and I try it, and it really really worked. I remember playing few. You say, oh, this card is nice because I
Mm-hmm.
have the option to return one now that can make me to take a good card from discard pile for like
Mm-hmm.
Edwidge, for example. I can take any non-healing. Or can return your creatures to your hand if you're playing for creature decks. So, what do you think it's your stronger deck, and what's the deck you're most likely to play for fun?
I agree that mice to snuff box is a really good combo. Actually, I hadn't, and that's another beautiful thing I think about playing with somebody is that, like you introduced me to some combinations where I'm like, man, like that is a really good combo. So that is an example of one of them where I was like, he got me. For me, I would say I really like playing with McGonagall as a starting character. I think it's the fact that she can get rid of an adventure because adventures really lock you down. And I know, of course, if you play Revival and you can't play Caught by Snape or, whatever the case is, that's good. But there are still some adventures where to solve them, it's just like getting rid of your, like discarding your entire hand or doing 10 damage or something so like drastic like that, where I really do enjoy playing with McGonagall. So I have a McGonagall deck that is heavy on adventures and creatures as well as transfiguration. So because she provides the transfiguration power, I can still build a deck with two different types of lessons, and I don't feel like it's, kind of like taking up so many lesson types, right? So I really enjoy that one. I would say the strongest deck I have is probably the Snape deck, which I know you and I have in common. I know that it's they're a bit different, but the Snape deck that I have has the Dobby's Help and Venomous Tentacular Juice combination, and it's a pretty powerful deck. Especially, it's overpowering if I have Caught by Snape in it. But you and I decided to only have one Caught by Snape in our decks, and then now even having no Caught by Snapes. What I realized though, after I had one Caught by Snape in that deck, it was actually better because it allowed me to make the deck better instead of relying on one super powerful card. That's really almost an unfair card. I mean, you and I can talk for days about Caught by Snape, and I know all of us in the community can, but I really like that because it's sort of like there's really one main combination, which is the Dobby's Help and the Venomous Tentacular, and it's just like doing everything that I can to build up to that. So it's like I'm sort of taking hits from my opponent in order to get that 10 lessons that I need. And so if I'm playing somebody who doesn't have a similar similar deck. It's really fun because it's like, am I going to be able to do it? Am I not? You know, so I do like that. So I would say the McGonagall and the Snape deck are probably the ones that I play with the most, and they're both really fun.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
show you to don't know that for my birthday I received this probably the most fun and creative and special present I ever received from birthday that Mona ordered from Paolo. A nice illustration that is me and Mona dueling and I really
Yeah.
love it and I frame it and it's in my room. I take it out to show and I love it. We played a lot of with Caught by Snape. I remember when we start playing we don't restrict it anyway, so we put it as many as want in the deck. So it's fun to notice that in playing in action because I was talking with Sam that probably if Wizards keep it the game going, if they have like big offshore tournaments, probably they're gonna do as same as Yu-Gi-Oh does, as Magic does, but even Pokemon have banned restricted cards. But probably it will be as Revival did for Banned, right? Because we played a lot with that, and sometimes exactly what we agree of puts a limited one per deck in our matches. I think you agree with me. Sometimes get really because as you say, I don't mind losing for you or winning for me. It's whatever. I love to play and have fun. But sometimes it's not about the winning thing, but it's about really the fun because sometimes it isn't that fun anymore. Because the main thing of adventures for me is like I always try to imagine the cards as in the books in the series of I'm in the middle of a Hogwarts situation. And I think
Yeah.
adventure is like of course like it's a pain in the to get rid of, but I'm gonna do it because it's locked me down. Use it against me. I learn with you, and I put in my decks. They escape me Dursleys. That for me is the better adventure, not banned restricted with the through the arc. Pain in the ass, but at least I can solve it. What I think the colors isn't that fun because it really lock you down to you can do anything more. You know, like you don't have more options. You don't have more out to go. It's literally as the movie you get caught by the worst teacher. So you are fucked up.
Exactly. That's a good point. And one of the other things is like, when you first get introduced to Caught by Snape, you think that, okay, well, this is, whatever, fine. Like, let's say, for example, I prepare for it or you prepare for it, and we happen to have, lessons in our hand. Okay, so we solve it. And then the audacity of the adventure that says, put as many other lessons that you have in your hand. And so when I first had Caught by Snape played, I was like, oh, great, I get more lessons, I get more power. And then it's played again. And then I'm like, dang. So now it really kind of allows you to see like this really isn't even number one, it's possible to solve depending on when it's played during the game, right? So if it's played
Exactly.
at the very end and you know that your opponent has a lot of lessons, 10 lessons, 12 lessons, and then they have their discard pile is piled up, it's like the majority of those I'm sure are lessons. And then if it's played then it's almost you're not going to be able to do anything about it. If it's played at the beginning of the game, to me, it's not the worst because of course you can do damage to me, but in the meantime, I'm just what I want to do anyways is build lessons. But then yeah, the reward isn't even so much a reward as it is a mockery that's made of the opponent because it's
It's a
like,
trap.
oh, yeah, exactly, it's a trap. Yeah.
It's a
So
trap of Snape.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I would say a good alternative to that is escaping the Dursleys, which is still, like you said, kind of crappy because you have to get rid of you have to discard your hand. But I mean, at least you can solve it. Whereas with Snape, sometimes you can't. But with escaping the Dursleys, you can all the time.
To have some cards, I think you agree with me that it can fit in mainly almost decks. You know, like Pawn Free at least once. I think it's good in each deck. I put in each one. I put one through the arc on each deck, one escaping Thursday on each deck. But of course, you have like some power creep cards that is Stubbs Help, Venomous that specifically for some types of lessons. Beside those cards like Cobra Snake that can fit in each deck, would you think it's the most power creep card that you already play with?
For me, that's pretty powerful that I sometimes look past is searching for the snitch even because especially in a Quidditch deck, for me, I have a Quidditch deck where like it's just a standard Quidditch deck. You've got multiple Quidditch lessons and then every card is Quidditch, but there's like always a specific card that you want to look for, like a match or whatever. And so searching for the snitch happens to be really good. Another one that's similar to that is Gringotts. Gringotts has like saved my life multiple times because I'm like, I have a perfect combination, but I just need that one card and I've got a Gringotts in my hand. And so then I can go and search for whatever it is that I need. Let's say that it is the Dobby's Help or Venomous and I've got two Dobby's Help and I've got all this and that, but I have no Venomous. And I'm like, so let me go and search for it. Another one that's similar to those two would be Reparo because, it allows you to take from your discard pile, so that to me is a really good one. And off the top of my head, I don't know if there are, I think with the exception of like hospital bed, if I'm remembering properly, there aren't too many cards that allow you to take a healing card from your discard pile, which I think would be amazing because I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times someone is like, you've done damage to me, and then I see my palm free in my discard pile, and then I instantly get depressed because I'm like,
It
you're
hurts on the
gone.
heart, directly on the
Yeah, it
heart.
really does because it's like, oh man, and like I only had one or two in there or something. So yeah, but yeah, I think a lot of the power comes from those cards that allow you to get whatever card you really want or need because it kind of, has you complete that combo.
Yeah, Gringotts, it's crazy because you can pick even a healing card. So
Yeah, exactly.
or adventure. I don't know if you see I played a lot of lessons or something, and maybe play Cobra Snake or Escaping the Dursley, whatever. Yeah, I agree with you. In most cards, I think Gringotts really changed a lot of matches when I'm playing too. And I never think about Welsh Dragon and Sammy told in our first episode. Then I put it even in my all deck. If I have a lot of owls and all Emporium and I put Welsh Dragons and a Steel Claw, can be mortal because I
Mm,
red enter giving 6 and then I Steel Claw, so it's tons of
yeah.
damage for me, with no doubt. Of course, Dobby's help helps a lot of this card being so power creep, but I think Venomals, it's crazy. Sometimes we do matches that is like, 3 turns, 4 turns.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you can get those lessons out there and then you get a wand shop, the next thing you know, I'm like, all right, I'll just give you my deck and we'll just call it a day, you know? But yeah, Black Bat is probably hands down one of the creatures that I have in my deck in my creature decks the most. Another one which made me when you said Black Bat, it reminded me is Garden Gnome because Garden Gnome I feel like is sometimes a little bit ignored, but it really does a lot of damage because I mean not actually because it's actually a creature that doesn't do damage, but it hinders you, I suppose, because you have to discard one card from your hand at the end of each turn. That sucks because sometimes like if you do damage and then you have a good hand, that will eventually add up. Especially I've noticed when played with Candy Cart. So Candy Cart, for those that don't know, is the adventure that has you draw three and then discard three before your turn starts. I mean, yes, you do draw three and then you get rid of three, but that's decreasing your deck. And then you have with Garden Gnome, you have one that you have to get rid of. And so it's just one of those, it's like a pretty good combination.
Yeah, I love to see that because I remember when you first playing Guardian Gnome against me, I think, oh, right, it's good, but I'm not care too much about it. And I remember when you played two against me, and like
Hmm.
I have the perfect combo in Quidditch deck with Catch the Snake in some match, and I ending up have like 3 cards in my hand. I have two Guardian Gnome. It's my combo is done. So and you say
Hmm.
advance shop, and I think it's really power creep too because I played with Sammy and he have a really nice deck of Philosopher's Stone and
Mm.
Ollivanders with
Mm.
Van Shop. He win the game. He didn't do that much damage to me, but he was healing all the time, and
Mm.
putting lessons. So it's
Hmm.
really fun to see.
Yeah, that is really interesting, and that's one of the beautiful things. Like you have so many cards, and just the different combinations that people will be able to come up with, depending on their personality or depending on the way that they want to play, is actually really cool.
And Garden Gnome can work with Swarm too, right? The Swarm, I didn't notice that can be powerful. And like I play against you and you do the same against me, like with defensive plants. And Garden Gnome can be used with too, right? Because
Right.
they're not giving damage, but I have the Swarm. And if you're playing against a creature deck, it's tons of damage.
Yeah, it's brutal. Swarm and Steel Claw are like a really good combination, because you've got like even if like you just said, even if Garden Gnome doesn't actually do damage with Swarm it does. And so that's just kind of one of those unique, I guess, sort of rules that, a lot of people don't notice, so it's a brutal card. I like it.
Like Pomfrey, it's from healing cards, and
Hmm.
Snape, it's for a little bit of healing because he teaches potion lesson, but he provides the lesson. And McGonagall is those kind of teacher that it's good, but she can push hard, so he can solve an
Hmm.
adventure. Or Argus Filch, that is hunting the children that is making adventures and have outside the rules things, so he can end adventure. So I really like those things that will building a scenario of our
Hmm.
Hogwarts that I like, and I love
Hmm.
that card games that you have a starting character. I played Dragon Ball Super card game before, and it's the same. You have like starting character, and I love that because I love to play with characters that I like. Of course, if
Hmm.
some characters powerful, I don't like that much. maybe I'll try because I like powerful decks too. The first deck I built is Snape because I like Snape, and the great thing is he's not exactly bad, he's not exactly good. So
Right.
so because we're talking about playing, this episode will be a bit longer, and we'll play some games. And
Oh, cool. Yeah, for sure. Okay, I will draw and I'll play 2 lessons.
draw. I'll play 2 lessons. Your turn.
I'll draw. I'll play 4 privet drive.
Draw. I'll play a lesson. All Emporium.
I'll draw, and draw.
Draw. I'll play an arrow. Review the top card. Isn't a lesson, so I put it back and I'll draw.
I'll and I'll draw again.
Draw.
And it's 1 damage, right, arrow?
There's 2 because of the
Two.
Emporium.
Oh, that's right. Yep. Okay.
And I'll play a Hagrid's Help.
I will draw. I'll solve it. I'll take the 8 damage, and I'll draw 3. And then I still only get 1 action.
Right.
So I will play an Umbrella Flowers.
I'll draw.
Let Umbrella Flowers take 1.
I had to discard 6 cards, right?
Right.
So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to solve it.
You may draw a card as your reward.
All right. Yeah, thank you. And I'll play a Picking on Evil in one of your lessons.
Okay.
And I'll play a Guide to Transfiguration.
I'll draw. I'll play Riding the Centaur.
I'll draw. I will discard a Guide to Transfiguration to draw 3. I'll play a Guide to Household Pests.
I'll draw. I'll play a lesson and draw.
I'll draw. I'll play a Screech Owl. I'll discard the adventure with Magagnum.
Okay.
I'll play a Steel Claw, so it's 4 damage. You can prevent
Okay.
1.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
Your turn.
I will draw. I will play a Madame Pomfrey and use her. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
I'll draw.
And I'll take 2 and 3.
I will play 1 lesson and draw. Your turn.
I'll draw. I'll play a lesson and I'll play a Picking on Neville on your Emporium.
Alright. I'll discard the arrow and 1 lesson instead.
Okay.
I'll draw. I will play an arrow. Review the top card. Isn't a lesson, so I put it back. And I'll draw.
I'll draw. I will play a Garden Gnome and I'll play Dobby's Disappearance on your Owl Emporium.
Alright.
And another Garden Gnome.
I'll draw. I'll play Disappearance in one of your Garden Gnomes.
Okay.
I will discard my guide to give 4 damage to the other one. I'll play an Emporium.
I'll draw. I'll play a lesson, a Mandrake.
Draw. I'll play a Through the Arc.
I'll draw. I'll play 2 Manticore. Your turn.
Draw. I'll play 2 lessons.
I'll draw. I will play a Garden Gnome and skip a action.
Alright. I'll draw. Play Edwidge and take a non-healing card from the discard pile. I'll take a lesson and play it. Oh, and I have to discard 1 card.
Right. Okay, I'll draw. I'll play Candy Cart.
Draw 3. And discard 3. And draw. I'll play a Welsh Dragon. So discard 2 lessons. And I'll play a Lost Notes in one of your lessons. And I'll discard my card that I still have in my hand.
All right, well, you won because I have to draw and I only have 1 card left.
Draw. I'll play 2 lessons. Your turn.
I'll draw and I'll play 2 lessons.
Draw. Play a lesson and Picking on Evil in one of your lessons.
I'll draw and play a lesson.
Draw. I'll play a lesson and the Lost Notes in one of your lessons.
I'll draw and I'll play a 4 privet drive.
Draw. I'll play All Emporium And I'll play a Burning Owl, but I'm not gonna trigger the effect.
I'll draw and draw and draw.
I'll draw, draw, draw.
I'll draw. I will play a lesson and Hagrid's house.
Draw. So I'll solve the adventure, discarding 6 cards. 1, 2, 3,
Okay.
4, 5, 6. I'll draw one as Heworn. My first action, I'll draw. And my second one, I'll play an arrow. Review the top card. Is a lesson, so put in play. Your turn.
I'll draw, draw, draw.
I'll draw. My first action, I'll draw. My second one, I'll play a lesson. Your turn.
I'll draw. My lessons are hiding from me.
Oh, I hate when it happens.
Oh, yeah. I'll draw and draw.
I'll draw. I'll play a lesson and draw.
I'll draw. I'll play Umbrella Flowers and draw.
I'll draw. I'll play a Hagrid Needs Help.
I will draw and draw.
I'll draw. I'll play a Screech Owl. I'll not trigger the effect. I will draw.
I will draw. I will use McGonagall to solve the adventure.
Right.
And I'll play Madame Pomfrey.
I'll draw. I'll play a Through the Arc.
So I'll draw. I will play a lesson, a black bat.
Right. I'll draw. I'll play a Picayune Avenue in your Pomfrey.
Okay, I'll take the umbrella flowers and black bat instead.
I'll play another Screech Owl and take a lesson and Scarp Bites my hand.
I will draw. I'll play a black bat and a garden gnome.
Draw. I'll play a Lost Notes in one of your lessons.
Goes back to my hand because of Hagrid's house.
Alright, yeah. I will draw and I'll discard a card from my hand.
I will draw. I'll play a lesson, a black bat, and I'll use my Madame Pomfrey effect.
I'll draw. I'll play a Tunnel. I will draw and discard a card from my hand.
I'll draw and I'll play another black bat and another gnome.
Draw. I'll play a Welsh Green Dragon, discarding 2 lessons. And then I'll play a Steel Claw, so it's 11.
Damn, I think you won again. Yeah, you won.
Alright.
I think I'll change my deck maybe to my Sprout deck to see how it does against that one.
Alright. Nice.
Alright, I will draw. I'll play 2 lessons.
Draw. Play 2 lessons.
I'll draw. I'll play a lesson and a bowtruckle.
I'll draw. I'll play a lesson. A Picayune Avenue, one of your lessons.
Okay. I'll draw and draw and draw.
Draw. I'll play 2 Tunnels.
I'll draw, and play a lesson.
Draw. I'll play Emporium and a Screech Owl.
I'll draw. I'll play Picking on Neville on your Owl Emporium.
Alright.
And I'll play a lesson.
Draw. I'll play a Guide to Holes Past and draw.
I'll draw. I'll play a Leaping Toadstool and a Mandrake.
I'll draw. So take 1 damage, give it back to me 1.
Yep.
First, I'll discard the guide to give 4 damage to the Mandrake. I'll play Arrow.
Okay.
The top card of my deck isn't a lesson, so put it back. Your turn.
I will draw. I'll play a Dobby's Disappearance on one of your lessons.
Alright.
And Riding the Centaur.
I'll draw. I will play 1 lesson. To solve the Ride the Centaur, I have to return 4 cards to my hand, right?
Right.
Right, so I'll solve it, returning Arrow, Screech Owl, Tunnel, and the other owl.
And then you may draw a card as your reward.
Right. I'll just play an arrow, review the top card. Isn't a lesson, so put it back. Your turn.
I will draw. I will play a Cobra Lily and a Mandrake.
I'll draw. Oh, I take one damage back. I'll play a Picayune Avenue on the Mandrake.
Okay.
I'll play a Tunnel. and return the guide household pass to my hand.
I will draw. I'll play 2 swarm.
Right, so it's 10.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Draw and take one back.
Yep.
Play Owl Emporium. I Screech Owl and return a lesson to my hand.
I will draw. I'll play a Picking on Neville on your Emporium,
Alright,
and I'll draw.
I'll draw, take one damage back. I'll play Madam Pumphrey and use her.
I'll draw, and play a Swarm.
6.
Yeah.
Draw, take one damage back. I'll play a lesson and a guide holds pass.
I will draw. I'll play a Picking on Neville on your Madame Pomfrey.
I'll take the arrow, the guide instead.
Okay. I will draw.
I'll draw, take one damage back. I will play All Emporium, another Tonial. I will return a guide holds pass to my hand.
I'll draw. I'll play Riding the Centaur.
I will draw. I'll play through the arc and use the Magogno to discard the right in the center.
I will draw. I'll play Riding the Centaur.
God damn. Alright. I will draw. I'll play a Picking on Evil on right in the center.
Okay. I'll get rid of a lesson and the bow truckle instead.
And I'll play a Guide to Host Pass.
I will draw. I'll play a lesson and I'll draw.
I'll draw. Play a Guide to Host Pass and a lesson.
I'll draw. I'll skip these 2.
Draw. Play a Guide Transfiguration, a Lost Notes in one of your lessons.
Okay. I'll draw. I'll play a lesson and skip this action.
Draw. So I'll solve the adventure, returning Pomfrey through the arc, the Transfiguration, one guide holds pass, and I'll draw a card. I will play a disappearance in your Cobra Lily. I will play a Welsh Dragon and a Steel Claw.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You won.
Alright. I'll draw. Play 2 lessons.
I'll draw. I'll play 2 lessons.
Draw. Play a Host Growth, so it's 2
2 damage.
Yeah,
Okay.
and draw a card, and I'll play a lesson. Your turn.
I'll draw. I'll play 2 lessons.
I'll draw. I'll play a Vent Shop and a Gringotts Valky.
I'll draw. I'll play a sickle and a potions project.
1, 2, draw. I'll play a Flying Car and a lesson.
I'll discard my sickle. I'll draw. I'll play a Gringotts Valky. I'll play a lesson and I'll play a sickle. I'll play a Bulgai.
Draw. I'll play a Through the Arc.
I will discard my sickle. I'll draw. My first action, I'll discard the Bulgai and do 13 damage.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
I'll skip these 3.
I'll draw. I'll play a Madame Pomfrey and use her.
I will draw. I'll skip my first action, so I'll return the Bulgai. I'll play a Galleon.
I'll draw, and I'll play the infamous Cowboy Snake.
Draw, and draw.
I'll draw. I'll play 2 lessons.
I'll draw, and draw.
How many cards do you have in your hand?
10.
Alright, so I use Dobbs Help and the Venomous.
Okay, so that's 20 and 40. You probably won because I don't. Yeah, because then I think this is like 25 cards or something. So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, I'll draw. I'll play 2 Lessons.
Draw. I'll play a lesson and the nut.
I'll draw. I'll draw and play a lesson.
I'll discard my nut. I'll draw. I'll play 2 lessons and the host growth. 2 damage and the draw card.
I will draw, and draw.
Draw. Play a nut and a hover charm in one of your lessons.
Okay. I'll draw. I'll play a lesson and a nut.
I'll discard my nut. Draw a hover charm in one of your lessons. I'll draw my second action, and my last one, I'll draw again.
Okay, I will discard my nut. I'll draw. I will play a lesson and escaping the Dursleys.
Right. I'll draw. I'll play 2 lessons.
I'll draw. I'll play a lesson and a potions project.
Right. Oh, a bunch of 8 hurts.
Yeah,
God damn. 1,
the depression is real.
2. Yeah.
God, man, Humphrey.
Draw. I'll solve the adventure, guarding my hand. I'll search and play a cut by snake.
I'll draw. I'll play 2 lessons.
I'll draw again, and I'll trigger my Professor Snip effect.
I'll draw. I'll play the last lesson
Alright.
and a sickle.
Draw. I'll play a lesson and a Hifaru. I'll take back the cut by snake.
Okay.
Your turn.
I will discard my sickle. I'll draw. I'll play Escaping the Dursleys for my first 2. My third, I'll use Gringotts. Yeah, the last action, I'll play a Potions Project.
Right. 1, 2.
Okay.
Draw. I'll solve the adventure. Discard my hand. I'll search for any card. I'll take through the arc and play it.
Draw. I will skip these 2, and I'm going to use my Professor Snape effect.
Pirata want to enjoy the match.
Yeah.
Draw. First action, draw. Second action, draw.
I'll draw. I'll skip these 2.
Right. And you can return an item. Discard pile. Draw. God damn. First action, draw. Second action, draw.
I will draw. I'll play a flying car, a nut.
I'll draw. I'll play a lesson, then the flying car.
I will discard my nut and draw. How many cards are in your hand?
5.
And what's your deck look like?
It's almost as my discard pile, so
Okay.
considering the cards in play, maybe have like 20 or something, 30 at most.
Okay. I will play an ooze on your item, and I'll play a potions project. Sorry.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And
And,
Poacher's project. 1, 2. Draw, play a Green Dots.
draw, play a lesson, and a venomous.
Yeah, you won for sure. Draw, play a lesson and the nut. Your turn.
I will draw. I'll play a lesson and draw.
I'll discard my nut. Draw, play a lesson, a nut, and draw.
I'll draw. I'll play a lesson and draw.
Alright. I'll discard my nut. Draw again, and again.
I'll draw. I'll play a nut and draw.
Draw. I'll play a lesson and a vent shop.
I'll discard my nut and I will draw. First action, I'll draw. My second, I'll play a potions project.
Right. 1, 2.
I'll play a Hover Charm on one of your lessons.
Right. I'll draw. I'll play a lesson, then the sequel.
I will draw. I'll play a lesson and an ooze on your sickle.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Draw. I will play a lesson and the flying card.
I'll draw. I will draw and draw. Your turn.
Draw. I use my Professor Snip effect. I'll play a Hover Charm in one of your lessons.
Okay.
A sequel.
I will draw. I'll play a lesson and I'll draw.
I'll discard my sequel. Draw. My first two actions, I'll play a Through the Arc. Hover Charm in one of your lessons. I will draw.
I'll draw. I'll play 2 lessons.
Draw, and play a lesson.
Draw. I'll play a flying car. Use the action to get rid of the adventure.
All right. Draw. I'll play a Galleon. Draw.
I will draw. I'll use an ooze on your galleon.
I
Oh
choose
wait,
right.
you choose, right? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take the flying car instead and take 8 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
And I'll play a hover charm on your galleon.
Draw. I'll play a Galleon, a flying car.
I'll draw. How many cards are in your hand?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay.
And my deck isn't that thick. It's probably 20 or something, 30.
I'm gonna play 2 venomous.
Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I think you won because 18. For sure, yeah.
All right. All right. I will draw, and I'll play 2 lessons.
Draw. I'll play 2 lessons.
I'll draw. I'll play a lesson and a black bat.
Draw. I'll play a Holiday Flags and I'll draw again.
I will draw. I'll play a lesson and another black bat.
Draw. I'll play a Through the Arc.
I will draw. I'll play a garden gnome and skip an action.
Draw. I will discard the Holiday Flags to put 2 potion lessons in play. Then I'll play a Self-Steer Cauldron, so I discard 2 potion lessons and provides 4 potion lessons, and I get 1 more action this turn. And I don't remember the name in English, but something like gross drink or something.
Yeah, I forget what it does.
Yeah, I can do 2 damage to a creature or a opponent, so I do 2 damage on the black bat, one of those.
Okay.
And I will discard 1 card.
I'll draw. I will skip these 2.
I'll draw. I'll play another dose in the Garden Gnome.
Okay.
I'll play a Beetle Ice, so when it enters does 4 damage.
I'll draw. I'll play a lesson and skip an action.
Draw. I'll play another those gross drink on the black bat. And I'll play a Jawbine Potion, so 2 damage and can play spells next turn.
I'll draw and I'll play Candy Cart.
I will draw 3 or 3. Draw. I'll play 1 Holiday Flags. I will. Alright, I'll solve it.
All right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'll play, I don't remember either in English, but it's that one that I put 3 no-healing cards at the bottom of my deck and draw a card. Oh, sorry, I'll draw a card as Heward, I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
And
No
then
problem.
I'll play it on the bottom and draw.
I'll draw. I'll play 2 Potions Project.
God damn. 1. 2. 1. 2.
Okay.
Cat, yeah. Alright.
Alright.
Draw. First action, I'll play a left mixture. So it's
Mm-hmm.
card 2 lessons that do 10 damage.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
And then I'll play a Potions Project.
Okay. 1, 2. I will draw. I'll play purple firecrackers. Your opponent chooses 3 cards in his or her hand and discards them.
Alright, I only have 3, so
Okay.
discard them.
I will draw. I'm gonna use my Professor Snape.
I'll draw, and you won because I only have one more.
Oh, all right.
So thank you again, Mona, for all this chatting and this playing with me and making this another video of the series with recreating. And thank you so much. It's like to say that we usually to do it almost each week for a year,
Yeah.
but it's fun to
Yeah.
record this day.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm really happy to be on your series, and I'm happy that we got some gameplay. So at least just to show, some live game, if you want to call it that. So I had a lot of fun, and of course, as always, good conversation.
Thank you so much.